Good.
And for the next year and a half, I worked at the museum. And during that time, I got very interested in Sierra Leone's history. And I continued teaching two days a week. I would walk up to Albert Academy, I'd teach history, and then the rest of the time I was at the museum. And one of the people that we taught about in the history classes was Baibure.
Okay.
So I thought, well, the only existing image of Baibure is that old pencil drawing that was made by an English officer back in 1898, and where he's sitting sideways on a box, and he looks very dejected and defeated. I thought, wouldn't it be nice if we had a three-dimensional statue of Baibure?
Yes.
So there was a man in Freetown at the time named Marsh, and he used to make figurines for funerals, for cemeteries. So I went to him, and I said, look, I showed him the picture of the drawing of Baibure, and I said, look, here's the drawing of the man I want you to make a statue of. I want the statue to be full size. I want it to have flesh-colored, features and everything.
Okay.
And so he said to me, well, what does he look like from the front? So I said, well, we don't know. We've never seen him from the front. We've only seen that profile. So about 2 weeks later, a messenger came and he said, the statue's ready. So together with two fellows from the museum, we went to his workshop, which was down in the gully.
So what you are saying, sorry for interrupting you,
Yeah.
so you were instrumental in having that statue for Baibure.
We had the statue made.
Oh, that's good.
And so when I got the statue back to the museum,
Yeah.
I had to dress him.
Okay.
So I put an old warrior's robe on, a ranko, and we only had two warriors' hats.
Warrior hats,
I
okay.
chose the wrong hat.
Okay.
I chose a Karanko buffalo hunter's hat. And strangely enough, that hat then became Baibure's hat.
Baibure's hat, okay.
So even today, if you go to the Peace Monument in Backer State House, you'll see a big frisee of Baibure wearing that hat.
That hat, okay.
And all the pictures in history books now show the statue with the hat. So that's how the museum assignment went.
Now this picture about Baibure,
Yes,
you were so involved in having his statues.
right.
So, and now you discovered the original photo of Baibure.
Right.
How did that happen?
Okay. First of all, I was always very embarrassed about the statue, because the statue, as I said, the man Marsh made the statue from his imagination, and it was very whoa.
Yeah. Well, yes. Well.
And I thought somewhere in the world there has to be a photograph of Baibure.
Yeah.
And they were using the picture, the Baibure photo of the statue on the currency. They put it on the 1,000 note,
Okay.
Leone note. So in 2013, someone told me that there was a photograph of Baibure on the internet, on eBay for sale. So I found the picture, and I bid on the picture. The picture went for a lot of money. I almost lost it because I thought I had a high bid in, and I fell asleep, and I woke up and I had lost it. So I had to contact the seller and ask the seller to contact the buyer, and I doubled what the buyer paid for it. I doubled it, and I got the picture.
Okay.
What had happened apparently was that when Baibure was under house arrest in Ascension Town,
Okay.
there was a ban on taking photographs of him. And at that time, there were a lot of Creole photographers in Freetown. You had the Liscarew brothers, you had W.T.S. Johnson, you had studios, lots of studios. So I always said to myself, well, how is it possible that he could have been in Ascension Town for a period of time and no one took his picture?
Picture, yeah.
Because the British wouldn't allow anyone to get near him.
Okay.
But what happened was there was one British officer who had a camera and decided he was going to try to take Baibure's picture. Now, Baibure was living next door to another famous person, Prempeh I, the Asantehene of
Ghana.
the Gold
Ghana.
Coast.
Or they didn't call it the Gold Coast, yes.
And he had also been arrested by the British because of the Ashanti Wars. So he was under house arrest. So the two of them were next door to each other under house arrest in Freetown. So we know this because we later found the diary of this photographer.
Okay.
Photographer went to Prempeh and he said, I want to take your photograph. And Prempeh said, no. Because when the British conquered the Ashantis, they forced Prempeh to kiss the boot of the British governor, and he hated the British. Then they asked Baibure, and Baibure smiled and said, yes, you can take the picture. So he takes the picture, but once he takes the picture, he can't show it to anybody, because if he does, he's going to be court-martialed. So he makes a couple of copies, and one of the copies he gives to some other officer who puts it in his scrapbook. So here, 65, almost 75 years later, the family sells the scrapbook to a bookseller in London. The bookseller goes through the scrapbook. There are lots of pictures in the scrapbook, but none of them have anything to do with Sierra Leone. They talk about Nigeria and whatever. All of a sudden, there's a picture, and it says, Baibure, King of the Timni, under house arrest in Ascension Town, 1898. So the bookseller does a Google search and finds out who Baibure is. Now she knows she's got something worth money. Takes the page out, puts the page up on eBay. So I bought the page. And then once I bought the page, I took copies of it to Freetown. We gave one to the President Kuroma, gave one to Ford Bay College, one to Albert Academy. And so it's only now that people are beginning to understand that that's what he really looked like. As opposed to that old British drawing, which was... Because the British drawing, the original drawing, was British propaganda. That drawing appeared in 1898, 1899 in the London Gazette with a big story about how the British had wiped out the hut tax war.
Propaganda.
And they had propaganda, and they had that drawing there, so it looked like that Baibure was, totally wiped out. So the real Baibure stands sitting there smiling. He's very much in control, and it's a totally new image of him.
Looking much relaxed, looking confident.
And powerful.
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 And sending out a message that he was really what the history books said about him.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And there are two mysteries about the picture which haven't been solved. There are three men in the background, African men, with white jackets. We don't know who they are, whether they were servants or what. And then there are two women in the picture who we think may have been his wives, but we're not sure.
Okay. And as you know, viewers, that picture has historical significance to our country, and it's going to be very helpful to history students and other scholars who would want to make more research about Baibure. So thank you very much, and thank you also. I heard that you gave a copy to President Ernest Bai Koroma.
Yes, there's one hangs in his office now.
Oh, that's very good.